All right, welcome everybody. So I'm just here to provide some support on this exponents review assignment. And this is your asynchronous assignment. We're reviewing exponents because exponents show up in the real world and we might be looking at exponential data for our mini final. So just as a review on what's an exponential function, exponential functions look something like this. Y equals a times b to the x power. So that's the format of an exponential function. How you know whether a table is exponential is usually the y values are getting multiplied by a constant. So in this example, 1 times 2 gives me 2, 2 times 2 gives me 4, 4 times 2 gives me 8, and so forth. So I know that this here table is exponential, and that's verified through the constant multiple. Sometimes you could also think of this as a constant division because if you do 2 divided by 1, you get 2. 4 divided by 2, that's 2. 8 divided by 4, that's 2. So you could also think of this as when you're dividing the consecutive outputs of the y value, you get a constant, which is the 2 here. Or you can think of it as multiplication. So we're going to talk about how do we construct the function that represents the table, and that's what you're going to be doing in your assignment. Except you're also going to be using Desmos, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. But anyway, so let's talk about how to create the equation here. So this multiplication by 2 is called our growth factor. Let me type that out. This is called the growth factor. That's just a proper term to use with exponentials. It's called our growth factor. The A term is usually your y-intercept on your graph. So this right here is usually the y-intercept. Sometimes though your table won't give you the y-intercept, so you have to use Desmos to figure out the equation. So for this particular example, my y-intercept is going to be right here. So the y-intercept is basically whenever x is 0, you got your y. So we have our a value, it's going to be represented right here. Our b value is represented by the growth factor. So here's how we construct our exponential equation. A is going to be 1 times, and my b is 2, and then to the x. Or we could just write that as y equals 2 to the x power. And you could verify that this works. You could start plugging in the x values in your table and you'll see that you get the same outputs. That's how you do this one. Let's do another one, and then we're going to talk about how to do the ones in the assignment. So again, these are exponential. That's usually told to you, but you want to make sure you identify when something's exponential. Again, there has to either be a constant multiple, or if you divide the consecutive outputs, you get a constant number. Here, I could already see that the pattern here is multiplication by 3. And you could see as you keep going down, it all agrees that you keep multiplying by 3. Again, because this is our growth factor, that's our b value. So we have our b value. The thing I'm missing here is my y-intercept though, right? So in this scenario is when we would have to use kind of Desmos to help us out. There are other ways though, of course, that you can investigate, but I'm specifically going to talk about how we could use Desmos to find out the missing terms that we need. Right now we figured out that 3 is the growth factor. Again, you could also divide the consecutive outputs as well. So if I did 243 divided by 81, that would get me 3, and that's again our growth factor. This right here is just A. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Desmos to figure out what that A is. So let me show you how to do this. And that's what you're going to be doing in your assignment here. This was me exploring with another table. And what you're going to do is you have to click here where it says add item, and you have to go down to table. Once you have your table, we're going to go ahead and enter our data. So the first one's 1, 3. And the next term, all I got to do is multiply by 3. That's 9. Next term, multiply by 3. So 27. Next term, multiply by 3. Now that one, I don't know off the top of my head. It's 81. Next one, multiply by 3. I believe it was 243. I know my work is in the way here, but I'll just delete this work. Sorry. Bye, precious work. So basically, you see these points here. Awesome. So now we're going to just try to kind of figure out what exponential equation best models this function. So the standard form of an exponential equation is y equals ab to the x power. Step 1 is you're going to type that out. Then you're going to add your sliders, a and b. And we know that b is a 3. So b is 3, so I'm going to already just align that. And it already looks perfect. It looks perfectly that our a is going to be 1 as well. So if we zoom in a bit, it kind of already told us what our a is. Sometimes you're going to have to play around with it though. So I think it perfectly matches that our a is 1, given the slider and how we went through all the points. So I guess we have our equation for the first one. It's the a is also 1, so it's y equals 1 times, and it was 3 to the x. Well, that's just another way to say y equals 3 to the x. And that would be our answer for this second one. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about ones that might look a little bit like, they have these wild decimal points, which is more real world, actually. Clear this up. Again, you could feel free to pause the video. So it's letting us know that this is exponential. This looks wild, but I could totally see a pattern here. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. All you got to do is verify if 0.222 times 3 is 0.667. I believe it is. We could check it. 0.222 times 3. Yeah, it's about that. So I'm going to say that the growth factor here is going to be 3 as well. So I know that my b is 3. So y equals a times b, which was 3. And as we already discussed, your a is usually the y intercept, which is given. And sometimes it's not given to you, so you have to be careful. So here I kind of already can see that my growth factor is going to be 2, but I want to kind of show you how you use the Desmos tool so that you can kind of verify that on your own. So yeah, I'm going to redo it all. So again, you click here to add your table, and we're going to put our first values. So we had -2, comma 0.222, and I think the next one was -1, 0.667, I believe. Yeah. Yep. Next point at 0, I believe it was 2. Then at 1, it was 6 because you're multiplying by 3. Then at 2 was 18. Let me clear my screen. So there I have the blue dots that represent my table. I zoom out a bit. Again, because I know it's exponential, because we get that constant multiple, we're going to go ahead and write out the parent function. It's ab to the x power. We're going to add our sliders. So we could play around with the function that best matches this. Again, because the constant multiples times 3, my b is going to be 3. And now we need to play around with the a. Now, because I already can see my y-intercept is 2, we know it's going to be 2, but just so you could see, play around with it. Once you hit 2, you're going to perfectly line up with all your points. Again, especially when you don't have the y-intercept given to you, this slider tool is going to help you create the equation. So as you can see, A is 2, B is 3. It gives it to you once you play around with it. So that's how you would answer this one. So A is 2 and B is 3. So you write it like this. All right, so that's our walkthrough on how to do this assignment. Good luck, y'all.